Arcadiology, episode 35, featuring Smash TV. Join us as we uncover artifacts from the arcades. I'm your host, Brad, and today's contestants are Skylar.
Yo.
Kyle.
What's up, dudes?
And Jordan.
I'd buy that for $1.
Got some big prizes today, boys. You excited?
Oh, so excited.
Yeah, I guess we can call it that.
Who's going to win the VCR? That's all I want to know.
Big money, big prizes.
Well, before we break down the prizes tonight, let's talk about some other games we're playing. So, Kyle, I want to start with you. You still playing Path of Exile 2?
I am still playing it.
Okay.
I've been sick like the past week, so I haven't done as much gaming as I'd like to. Like, I really tried. I'd get on and I'd put 45 minutes to an hour in, and then the feeling of being sick and staring at my monitor, it just wasn't doing it. You know what I mean? So I just had to get away from it. So unfortunately, I couldn't play it that much, but that is currently what I'm still playing. I guess the only thing I can say about it is kind of funny. I don't know if you guys have heard anything about it. Probably not. But I guess for PoE2, Elon Musk claims that he has one of the best characters in the game. And there's a whole thing. You could get into it, but essentially what's being shown now is he tried to live stream it on X, his platform. And right away people were realizing that there's no way that he knows what he's doing, and it's not his account, or at least it's not he hasn't played it up to the point where it is, because it's in the top 20 of hardcore characters, which if you guys have played Diablo and stuff, hardcore is if you die once the character gets deleted. And so he's in his character's super crazy strong, and it's pretty evident if you watch some of the footage that the speculation is he's paying somebody in Asia to play the account, and then he just gets on it and says it's his. It's insane. Yeah, I don't understand why he would do this, but
what a completely random, pointless thing to do.
You're telling me Elon Musk bought his 50?
He bought his 50. 100%.
You guys might have sold him a 50 on Halo back in the day.
Yeah.
Never even knew about it.
Yeah. He's made some other crazy claims too, I guess. In Diablo, he apparently had the world's best Diablo character, and he claims that he's one of the world's best Quake players back in the day, and all these other professional Quake players are coming out, and they're yeah, we don't know who that is. We've never seen him before. He's never been to any of the tournaments. I don't know where he's getting these claims from, but I don't know. It's a whole thing. It's funny to just kind of dive into it. I mean, I've seen some of the footage, and in my opinion, I agree. He doesn't know what he's doing, at least to the extent of you would think, based on what his character looks like. But it's just mind blowing that there's he's arguably one of the richest persons in the world, and he still is lying about being good at a video game.
This doesn't matter to scale.
I don't know. It's weird.
Who's he trying to impress with that? Who cares? He's already rich,
himself.
So, yeah, I don't know how far you guys want to get into this, but it's funny because that's kind of the point. Is the only people that would care would be hardcore PoE2 players or PoE1 players, and if those are the people that you're trying to get to care, those are the people that are going to immediately realize that you don't know what you're talking about. So it just doesn't make any sense down to any level. So I don't know.
That's some wild claims there.
Yeah, it's funny. You gotta watch some videos of it. It's pretty evident. I bet even if you guys that don't play those kind of games. Well, I mean, Skylar definitely does, but even Brad, if he were to look at it, he just does some weird things during his playthrough that you're if you played half an hour of any ARPG, you wouldn't be doing the weird things that he's doing. So I don't know.
So obvious.
Yeah,
that's funny. That's it for you though. Just nothing else.
Yeah, just some Elon Musk drama, dude.
Fair enough. Sky, how about you? What are you playing?
I'm doing the same old thing, bro. I haven't branched out into anything new lately. I'm still playing my Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links. Finished up the event a couple days ago. Now I'm just stacking extra cards, having fun with it. And my Pokemon update, I pretty much... Now I'm to the point where I'm just logging in every couple hours to open up packs, and that's it.
Just waiting for the next expansion to drop, pretty much?
Yeah, pretty much. I already completed that battle tournament thing a while ago, so there's no reason to really play it all, I guess, until another event comes out. I got some decks ready. I mean, I got some stuff I can play with. I just don't have a reason to play them right now. Most of my time's going into Yu-Gi-Oh, so that's about all I got. Nothing exciting.
All right, Jordan, how about you? What are you playing? Anything new for us this week?
I mean, a little bit. I mean, I do have all of the old classics. as far as Radiant Dawn goes, I did finish the last playthrough and already started the next and possibly final playthrough. We'll see. It kind of just depends on. It kind of just depends on if there's any characters I would like to perfect and maybe make a little better. But besides for that, this might be the final one of my little mission here. Just a few other basic stuff, some Pokemon Platinum, some OSRS, but the big one I'll talk about here, not this previous weekend, but the one before that, the one where it snowed a lot, and I think it was the weekend right after our last recording. I had a lot of free time, had nothing to do, so I spent 12 hours of my weekend finally watching a few movies that I'm severely behind on, that I think a lot of listeners might really judge me for taking so long to watch these movies. And then I also jumped into some of the video games for it as well, so that's why I'm bringing it up here. But 12 hours that weekend spent watching all 3 of the Lord of the Rings movies, finally.
Dude,
Nice.
I wanted to jump in and make the joke that you watched one of the Lord of the Rings, but it turns out you actually did watch that. It
I
was
just
3 of
watched
them.
all 3. The extended editions on Max are 4 hours each. And
That's insane, dude.
I watched all 3 of them. It is insane. I watched all 3 of them. I will say I did watch Fellowship when I was younger, but I didn't really pay attention, so I'm gonna just say this is the first time I really watched them. I did, however, play and beat the Two Towers video game for GameCube a long time. So I had already done that before and remembered enjoying it. So I did put a bunch of the Lord of the Rings games on my Steam Deck after watching the movies. And I hopped back into that Two Towers game again for a little bit. I kind of just did the first, 1 or 2 missions with each character. And then that's about it with that so far. I'll hop back into it here soon. But yeah, for all the fellow nerds out there, you can rest easy. I have finally watched all of the Lord of the Rings movies. Can't say I've read any of the books, but I have watched the movies.
Wait, you watched all of them, or just 1, 2, and 3?
Well, the three main movies.
Okay. I was gonna say all of them. I think there's more than that.
No, not all the extra side stuff. Just the actual 3 primary ones.
Isn't that it? Just the 3? Then the 3 Hobbit movies? Is there more than beyond that?
I think there's more to it than that.
Really?
I think there's TV series too.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, Amazon started a TV series. I heard
Yeah.
wasn't great, but yeah, that's a whole nother thing.
Yeah, I'm not too familiar. I can't help but feel like there are other movies of some sort that maybe I'll get to sooner or later, but for now I kind of just wanted to finally cross those 3 off of my list.
Was that the Lord of the Rings game that we used to play, Brad? Didn't we play one
That's what I was wondering.
pretty good for a while there? That was kind of cool. It was a bunch of different characters you could be.
Yeah, I mean, it might have just been the 3, but it's multiplayer. You can level up and stuff. It was an RPG.
In the Two Towers game, you can be Aragorn, Legolas, or Gimli, and you can level them up and learn different combo attacks. It's just button combination attacks that you can learn.
That was probably it. I think we played it on PS2. I'm sure it was multi-platform, but yeah, that game was actually
Probably.
sick if it's the same one.
Yeah, if it's the same one, I have to go back and look at it. But I do remember really liking that game at the time.
Yeah, I did beat it, like I said, back in the day, even not really knowing anything about the series, and really enjoyed it then. So that was a big thing I wanted to make sure I did after watching the movies.
There was a Lord of the Rings game me and Emily played for quite a while on the Xbox. It was War in the North.
I don't know
That one
that
kind of sounds like it too, though. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe
It's
that
the
was
same deal. You level up, you get equipment, semi-randomized equipment, I guess. You can enhance it and stuff with gems you find. You have skill trees and all that. You can't pick the main characters, but you can pick generic ones like an elf. She's an elf wizard or whatever that can heal. And there's the random dwarf that's really good at damage. And then an archer.
Maybe that wasn't it then. I don't remember being
Nah.
random people.
Yeah, I think we were specifically main characters from the
Yeah.
movies.
Ah.
But I thought the one that we played, I thought there was more characters, and I thought you could unlock later and play Gandalf and Pippin and all them.
Maybe. I don't know maybe you finished it. I don't remember ever beating it. I know we played it for a while, but I don't know if we finished it out. I'm not sure what the later game is.
Yeah, I beat it back in the day, but don't remember a whole lot about it.
Well, next game night.
Yeah.
There you go, bust out Two Towers.
Well, I guess that leaves me. The game I was playing a little bit, not a lot. It's a game I played maybe a year ago. It came out in 2023. It's called Storyteller. I'm playing it on Switch, but it's on Steam. It's actually a Netflix game too. I think you can play with subscription. But anyways, it's like a puzzle game. It's kind of presented as like a storybook, like fairy tale. Like literally, that's how the game it opens up. It's like shows a book opening up, and then there's like blank pages, and they give you like what the story's supposed to be at the top. Like for example, it'll say like I don't know, the butler kills the king. So then you have to use like there's like three different backdrops, and you got to put them. It'll be like a different room. One will be like a gun room. One will be like the hallway or like the king's room or something like that. And you got to like put this is like a very basic example. Sometimes it gets more complicated, but you'll put like the gun room scenery, then you put the butler in there, and so it makes him pick up the gun. The next scene you put like the king's room with the king and the butler, then he shoots him, and then I guess that's a pretty basic one, but then you'll be like he got caught or something, so then you have to make him put the gun back, and then there's like you put a room with the detective, so he like checks the gun to get his fingerprints, and then he like arrests him and stuff. But there's some like really cool things. It gets pretty hard towards the end of it, but it's a really short game, maybe like 2 hours roughly to beat it, give or take, depending on if you get hung up on some of the puzzles. Which is real cool the way it's like set up and like it like kind of animates. It's not just still pictures. It'll like show a little bit whenever you like lock it in and get the correct scene and stuff. But Ezra was replaying it with me. She's actually doing pretty good so far. I haven't had to help her too much. I'm a little worried at the end it gets a little more complicated, but it's a fun short game. That's kind of my thing. I like games that are pretty quick to beat, so I don't have to spend a lot of time in them. But it's called Storyteller. It's pretty fun. I liked it a lot.
So it was like describing to you what the scene is supposed to be, and then you have to recreate it?
Yeah, so it
Okay.
doesn't feel everything's just blank. It just gives you the characters and like the rooms essentially to drop in. So yeah, it'll tell you this what it's supposed to be, then you have to make it match what the words say basically.
Okay.
And if you get it right, it like comes up and has like a little animation saying you got it right. And then sometimes they'll give you like it's the same scene, but it'll like change. It'll have like an extra little line to make it like harder. It'll say like gets arrested, but nobody dies or something. So then you have to like have the butler getting caught instead of killing the king, and it's like an extra step, makes it a little more complicated. So
Right.
it kind of adds like an extra little layer to it. But yeah, that's pretty much the idea of it.
I gotcha.
Fun little game if anyone's into puzzles. I like to throw puzzle games here and there in between my platforming I've been doing a lot lately. But I think that's pretty much it. You guys, anything else before we move on?
Nope.
Yeah, I don't think so. Not too much gaming this past week, so.
Alrighty, well, let's talk about some Smash TV. Released in the arcades in 1990. It's a twin-stick shooter developed by Williams Electronics. It's like a top-down view shooter, so it's overhead. It's set in the year 1999. You play as a contestant in a game show where you just have to go around and kill everything in each room to proceed to the next, all of which is filmed in front of a live studio audience. So this game we actually had somewhat recently recommended to us from a listener. If you guys remember, I think it was Scary Terry.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so I've heard of this game before, but I've never actually played it before, and I think it's actually pretty awesome. You guys heard of it, played it, or what's your overall thoughts on it here?
Only heard of it. I legitimately had no idea what the game actually was until I started looking into it since we decided to play it.
I've never heard of this game before.
Yeah, I've never heard of it. I did accidentally play it, like, a little bit. I got confused, I think, when we were talking about, like, switching games, because we had, like, an issue where we needed to, like, switch games around. And someone threw out Smash TV, and I thought that was, like, what we were switching to. So I played it, like, whatever it was, like, 2 weeks ago. But I only played it for, like, 10 minutes when I realized I was like, this doesn't seem like the game they were talking about. So I played it very briefly then. And then, but up until then, I've never heard about it.
A little brief preview of it there on accident, huh?
Yeah.
It's from what I've gathered, it's a fairly popular arcade game. It's not like your Pac-Man, Space Invader type stuff, but it's still like relatively well known. But yeah, it's pretty sick. And this is the question that was brought up about it. The guy was saying about it'd be like a cool arcade to have, I believe. I think that was the same question, but I can see why now being like pretty unique having two sticks, because I've never knew arcade games were like that. This one's like twin stick shooters. I never knew that was like before consoles.
Yeah, I thought that was like a what, Xbox or something, or like a PlayStation thing.
Yeah, I didn't know it started way back then. Kind of crazy.
Yeah, I think the more of these arcade games we play, I'm realizing that like I was definitely more of a like mainstream arcade game player
Right.
because I know all the big ones, but all these other ones that people are like, oh, these are all classics. There's like 1,000 of them, and I haven't heard of a single one of them.
Great, man. We're discovering all these games we've never even known anything about.
I think there was a mini game kind of similar to this on, I want to say it was Call of Duty Black Ops 2. I think there was like a zombie mini game that was very similar to this. I never played Smash TV, but I definitely got vibes of that little mini game from Black Ops 2 that I played back in the day a little bit.
Actually, yeah, dude.
Yeah, I wonder if they kind of got like inspiration from this a little bit.
I forgot all about that, but yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So with this being the twin stick shooter, that's literally all your controls. Your left stick is your movement. Your right stick is where you aim and shoot. So whatever direction you point, your guy will shoot that way. Like I was saying, I didn't know there were arcade games like that. I thought it felt a little awkward at times because the arcade version would have an 8-way joystick, so you can only hit very precise angles like up, down, left, right, and the 4 diagonals. So if you kind of get in between, like, you know what I mean, like where the diagonal to one of like the regular directions are, it doesn't always shoot where you want it to shoot. Did you guys struggle with that at all?
Yeah, a couple of times.
Little bit.
I mean, I struggled with this game in general.
Regardless, it is a tough one, so it makes sense.
Yeah, there was definitely some times where I was like trying to shoot like a very specific enemy, and like I was shooting like just like in a very odd direction, and it just made you feel like, I don't know, like you were playing like a shooter for the first time. You didn't know how to aim, and you're like, dude, I suck.
Yeah.
But it's like he just couldn't get it to where it needed to be.
Sorry, I was going to say, I did have my controller set up rather than using the 2 sticks on the controller. I still was using the D-pad and the 4 buttons to shoot. And I actually didn't even realize that I could shoot diagonally until I was maybe halfway through the game or so. And then I kind of started taking advantage of that a good bit.
I don't even understand the sentence that you just said.
That's wild. Why would you do
4
that?
buttons to shoot? What are you talking about?
Yeah, just is triangle to shoot up, square to shoot left, cross down, circle right.
Wow.
Dude,
That worked just fine for me.
That sounds way too hard.
My mind is blown right now.
There's nothing hard about it. I mean, the game itself is hard, but there was nothing hard about the controls that I did.
Why would you not just use 2 joysticks though?
Well, the website I use for my ROMs, I typically doesn't even like let me. I mean, it has like an option to set up the sticks on the controls, but it doesn't do anything. Like it doesn't work.
Well that sucks. Cause yeah, you couldn't hit diagonals. That would make this hard game even.
I could. I just didn't realize until later in the game that I could do that.
So you just have to mash 2 of the buttons at once to hit that diagonal.
You don't have to mash. You could hold the buttons in, but yeah, you could just hit 2 of the buttons at once.
I think we just end the pod here and Jordan wins.
Calling it a night.
I can assure you, I did not win.
Well, like I did play it originally on my Steam Deck, so I had like regular thumbsticks, and then I also played it on my arcade just to see the difference. And the movement feels really weird with the joystick, but the aiming was a lot better because my arcade actually is an 8-way joystick, so you could actually feel, you know what I mean, hit the angles you want to, and it's not like that weird in between stage trying to move the stick around in circles. So it was a little better, I guess, but I don't know. Didn't make much of a difference in my overall play. It just, I think that might be the preferred way to play it, though. We'll hop into the stages here. So the stages are pretty much a series of single-screen rooms where there's enemies entering from 4 different possible directions. You don't really know which way they're going to come. At least I didn't. I don't know if there's a way to figure that out. So you kind of just running around the room, and then any of the doors can open up and enemies kind of swarm in at you. I didn't really notice the stages themselves. There's not really much to them. They're all kind of just like the same room. I don't know if you guys, anything about the stages that you thought were interesting?
I just know that, like, for the enemies coming out of the doors, it was always easy to tell which one they were going to come out of because it was whichever one was most inconvenient for you.
Yep,
Yeah,
exactly.
It sure seemed like it.
Whatever was close to you is where they were going to show up.
Yeah, dude, it sucked.
Yeah, that got real annoying. Yeah, because a lot of the time I just kind of run around the perimeter of the room because that kind of kite the enemies and kind of group them up, wrangle them up in like a kind of in a swarm because they follow you, and you just like get right to one of the openings at the worst timing, and it would open up and you just get hit by it. Because as soon as an enemy touches you, you die. So it's not like you have health. There's not like any way to block it. As soon as they touch you, you're dead. So many times you don't even expect it. They just pop in and you gotta respawn already.
Yeah, I had a lot of just kind of felt like BS moments playing this game. As
Oh
far as
yeah.
like sometimes it was just like there's no way, dude. Like you're just gonna die. Like you could be as like kiting around and as good as you want and clearing pathways and like you think you're maneuvering good, and all of a sudden a door just that you happen to be a little too close to just opens up and like 6 things come flying out in different directions. And it's just like there's no way you're gonna avoid that.
Yeah, dude. Anybody who can one credit this game, which I know they're out there, but anybody who can do that is an absolute legend in my eyes because this is not made for me because it is too hectic and crazy and fast paced and it is very very difficult to keep yourself alive.
And to make it worse, some of the rooms have random landmines, so it's like you're trying to dodge the bullets, dodge the enemies, go get your power-up weapons, and there's like landmines in the way as well. You gotta, like, some of the rooms, there's like tons of them, so it's really hard to navigate around the room without stepping on one. You step on that, and that's an instant death as well.
Like, as if it wasn't hard enough, like, just to walk around when the floor is clear. Then they go and throw landmines on half the level. Like, dude, I don't stand a chance. Come on.
Dude, it got so bad that at one point on the one level, I adopted the strategy of there was like a couple landmines on the left, and there were like 2 landmines on like the right side, and it like wasn't worth me trying to like I was like taking deaths by trying to avoid these landmines because like I had to like get away from the enemies at the same time. So I adopted the strategy of spawning in and then just stepping on both the landmines and just giving up 2 deaths to have a clear side of the room, and then I could survive.
I didn't think that's probably a pretty good idea, to be honest.
It felt
Like, save
bad.
a lot
Like
more lives.
it didn't feel like something you should have to do, but it seemed like it was the better option.
Man, like on top of the landmines everywhere, there's just at all times just so many enemies on the screen at once that I can't tell you how many times I had no idea what even hit me and killed me. Like I would just die and be like, I don't even see what attacked me. There's just so much going on at all times.
Yeah, it was a lot to try to keep track of at once. It was so hectic. But once you clear a room of all the enemies and they stop sending in more, it'll give you, I think it's just once you clear the first room, it shows you like a map of like the overall area, like the whole stage.
Mm-hmm.
So then once you finish a room, it'll give you like different directions you can go to navigate through that map. And then, so you kind of have a little bit of a choice there. I don't really know how much of a difference it made. I guess some of the rooms probably have different enemies, different spawns and stuff like that. So, I mean, there's a little bit of choice there with how you navigate through the stages, but I don't really know if there's anything too significant with that.
Yeah, I just tried to get to the right as fast as I could because that's
Straight
what
to
the
the
boss
boss.
was. Yeah.
It would usually like the only rooms it would show you, there'd be all empty rooms. Like as far as the map was, it would just be like blank. And then I think there was always like 2 like money rooms that had like the money symbol.
Right.
And I obviously like I couldn't like memorize the whole map to know where both rooms were. I don't even know if you could get to both if you wanted to, but I would just like look to where the first money room was and just like get to that. And then from there on out, it kind of seemed like it just pushed me in the direction I needed to go to get to the boss.
Yeah, I'm not sure it matters what path you take, honestly.
I think just slight variations in probably like the enemy spawns or like how Kyle said, like the different money rooms to get more points and stuff like that.
I usually just try to mad dash to the boss. Just
Yeah,
try
just
to get
go
through
straight
it.
over like Jordan.
It can be a very long game. So
Yeah.
In hindsight, that's what I should have done. Because I don't even know what the money was even for. Like it was
Yeah.
just points.
it's just like strictly points.
Yeah.
I don't see anything you can do with it.
Like Sky said, though, like, and I believe Kyle said something just like this on our last episode. This game was the epitome of like, okay, dude, I get it. Let's just end this already. It just went on forever.
It did drag me
I
to the end.
get it. And it didn't change enough to be worth it.
Yeah, I was definitely getting that feeling on this game as well towards the end.
Mm-hmm. Especially the boss fights. The boss fights would last forever.
And I did like some of the boss fights. Thought they were kind of cool.
They were cool. They just lasted so long.
That's the thing about the bosses. Well, you don't want to get into it now, do you?
Maybe let's run down the weapons first, 'cause I'm sure we'll be talking about the weapons as we talk about the bosses.
Yeah.
We'll go through those quick, then we can hop into the actual boss fights. There's weapons and power-ups that kind of just randomly spawn around the stage. Seems like it's just enough time for you to get it sometimes, so if you even make like one false move or an enemy blocks you, you're not going to get that weapon, which got really frustrating, I thought. But anyway, some of the weapons, there's a grenade launcher, just kind of doesn't shoot very far, but it drops a ton of grenades. There's like a spread shot, which is essentially like a shotgun. It shoots 3 directions at once. You have a rocket launcher, which like pierces through enemies. So if you just shoot one rocket, it'll clear everything out in the direction you shoot it. You can get this little floating orb or robot, whatever it is. It just shoots the same thing you shoot. So if you have your default gun, it'll shoot that. If you pick up the spread shot, it'll also shoot that. And then there's more like power-ups and like single-use items. There's essentially like a nuke you step on. It kills all enemies on the map. There's these circling blades you get that kind of revolve around you, and they kind of go away as they hit enemies. They kind of wear away. There's an invincibility, which was really good, is that puts like a green circle under you, and you can just plow through enemies and kill them all. And then there's shoes, which make you run faster. So did you guys have like any favorite combos there or weapons that you would prefer?
I preferred everything except for your original gun.
Yeah.
Fair. That's
that
fair.
thing sucked. And
You little pea shooter.
Dude, yeah, there was so many enemies, bro, that you weren't gonna kill them. The worst part was, like you mentioned about like the power-ups, I felt like when they spawned, if you couldn't like beeline to them immediately, you weren't gonna get them. Because they would spawn, yeah, you'd see them for like 3 seconds, they'd start blinking like it's gonna go away, and like as soon as it starts blinking, it's like another half a second pause and then it just disappears. And it just felt like really bad trying to get to them.
Everything in this game lasted forever except for the power-ups that you desperately need.
Yeah, even when you got them, I guess they didn't actually last that long either.
No.
But yeah, I don't know if I had a favorite weapon. Probably the one that like shoots all the little grenades out. It's like 10,000 grenades at once for some reason.
Yeah.
I tried to like make them last, like just like pulse it, and just tap that direction.
Mm-hmm.
But they still don't last that long. Like you don't get a whole lot of shots out of it.
No.
You don't, but if you do like kind of conserve it, like you said, there's usually, I found, unless you get screwed over by like an enemy spawn, there's usually just enough ammo most of the time that you can make it last until the next thing spawns. And hopefully it's something that you want, not just like, I don't know, that little robot thing was okay, I thought, but like the one that follows you around and shoots, but I'd rather have just like a better weapon.
Yeah. I wish he would have stuck around a little bit longer. Like he was super useful if you had, like Kyle said, if you had like you said how whatever you have, he imitates that weapon.
Right.
So like, if you would have like the grenades or the shotgun thing, he would shoot that also, and you would just clear the whole room with them.
The only bad thing is though, because the special weapons are ammo based, so it's not like a time limit. Like you have an ammo bar that starts depleting. When you have him, he uses up like the ammo as well, so it kind of goes down twice as fast.
Yeah, then after that, he just flies off. It's like, oh, thanks for wasting all my ammo, bro.
Well, the weird thing is, well, not weird, but just kind of annoying thing, you can have him forever. The only reason you lose him is if like that little orb touches one of the enemies. That's how he goes away. So he's just kind of revolving around you. If he bumps into an enemy, it doesn't hurt you, but then he just flies away and he's gone. So there was so many times where as soon as I picked it up, I was kind of like making a mad dash for an item. It was him. As soon as I picked it up, he spawned in, touched an enemy, and flew away and didn't even help me at all.
Yeah, like there's so many enemies. Like, why would they do that?
Yeah.
It should have at least been on like a time limit, or maybe just like until you died. Even with how hard this is, it wouldn't have made much of a difference.
I found myself getting pumped up about that invincibility thing, like them little circles that go around you.
For sure.
I was pretty pumped when I'd see like a chain of those. Like I would survive long enough for that to run out, and then maybe I had to walk a couple steps to grab the next one.
Or dude, you get that with the speed shoes? That was my favorite part of the game. You get, because you're cruising when you get those shoes. You get that plus the invincibility. You're just plowing through everything on the stage, and it's just like you can make laps around before it even goes away.
My favorite part is when you died, because you spawn with the invincibility ring.
Yeah.
And you can just run into all the enemies before before it goes away.
They're clustered there waiting for you to come through the door, and they just kind of explode on impact.
That was the best part, was dying.
I didn't like seeing the shoes after you collect like maybe 2 of them. I think you're good on speed. So anytime I saw those, I was like, well, I'm dead.
Yeah, it was also, that was time-based. Those kind of ran out, so if you got it, it would refresh them.
Oh, I thought I kept it. I guess I didn't live long enough to see it run out.
Long enough to find out. It's understandable with this game, though. But yeah, like I was saying, as soon as you spawn and run into enemies, some of the enemies are a little bit harder to kill. A lot of them are just like one shot, but there's there's tanks riding around that are shooting projectiles. Or
They
like
suck.
these big guys that walk around the perimeter of the screen, then just explode and shoot shrapnel all over the screen. Those guys I would instantly try to run into, so you can kill them with your respawn invincibility before they can actually hurt you.
Yeah, talking about the power-ups and stuff, I think my favorite weapon was the spread shot, But one of my favorite things to pick up in general was they kind of look like fan blades, the ones that rotate around you, and then they'll kill the enemies on contact. I mean, you don't have the invincibility, but it's very widespread, so you're gonna kill a lot of the enemies before they even get too close to you. I was a big fan of getting those.
My favorite was actually the rocket launcher because, like, I would try to conserve my ammo, and it seemed like that had a lot of ammo in it, even if you spammed it. But you could get into, like, an area, and how we said there's so many enemies on the screen at once. Like, I would kind of go up in the corners and just walk diagonal. And, like, by the time I, like, cut just, like, a tiny little angle, I killed, like, everything on the screen because it just runs through and kills everything in that line of sight. And there's, like, more enemies spawning and running into it. So that was my go-to. If I had anything and the rocket came up, that's what I went for.
Yeah, the rockets actually pierce. So, like, one rocket would actually shoot through an entire line of enemies.
And for as many enemies as there are at once, felt like the best option, like 90% of the time for me.
I had to use that tactic when I had just the normal gun. Like, I got sat up in the corner. I would just, like, hug the wall and just move back and forth shooting at an angle. And, like, by the time I see a power-up, like, they constantly spawned, so there was no way I could get to it. So I was kind of trapped in the corner until they overwhelmed me and killed me.
Yeah, I've definitely been pinned down like that. There's a few times where I would do that, and enemies would come, I would, like, just have enough room. It looked like I was going to die, and I killed the guy right in front of me, then all of a sudden I'm free. I break free from that corner, and they're all still swarming there. Then you round them back up and do another lap and try to pick another corner and hope nothing gets you on the way there. I don't know if there's any other standard enemies that are worth talking about before we move into the bosses. I already mentioned a couple of them.
You said about the tanks, they sucked, but also every now and then the room will fill with this gigantic cluster of these just little red orbs, and they're rough because they're just incredibly fast and they spread out as soon as they enter the room. So your best bet's going to be if you have that spread shot. If you just got your little pea shooter, it's going to be tough. But they're fast, man. You got to really try to take care of them before they spread out too much.
Yeah, those things were annoying, and so were, like, the little weird, like, purple shock, like, turtle shell looking things. Because they would, like, float around. They, like, bounce around, and if they don't die in one hit, so you hit them a couple times, they just kind of bounce away from you. And then they shoot, like, lasers. But they were just annoying, and just the way they pathed, I think, it was just kind of annoying.
All right, I guess we can move into the bosses then. There was only 4 bosses in the game. I think maybe just the first boss. You can't hurt him with your normal weapon. You can only kill him with, like, the power weapons. I don't know if you guys noticed that. Mutoid Man.
I know that's true for him. I don't know if it's true for the other ones or not.
I thought it was every single boss who needed, like, a power weapon.
I mean, I guess it kind of depends on, like, because there's, like, different phases and different, like, parts of the enemy to damage.
I think the phases, at some point, there were phases of the bosses that needed powers.
But yeah, I mean, there's only 4 bosses, so we might as well talk about each of them. The first one is Mutoid Man. He's, like, half human, half tank, and he just kind of moves up and down the screen, and you kind of blow off chunks of him. That's how you defeat him. This whole game is, like, a lot of, like, gore like that. You know, you're, like, blowing off chunks of enemies, or when you die, your head flies up in the air, like, up to the screen. I think there was a time, like, they're, like, eyeballs flying off and stuff. It was kind of crazy.
I love the body parts that would, like, fly up in the air whenever you kill some of the enemies. But half human, half tank. Didn't we already see this guy in, I believe, The Punisher?
Yeah.
I would say that seems familiar, that combo. I couldn't think of what it was.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there was a half human, half tank there too, wasn't there? He just came on over. He's following us.
I guess the talent agent scoped him out and gave him his own TV spot now.
In the far-off future of 1999.
But he would kind of just move up and down the screen a lot, shoot laser beams at you, and try to run you over it. He wasn't too hard, I didn't think. A lot of the time, I would just stick to the left side of the screen and just wait on power-ups, because that's the only way you could hurt the first boss. Your regular gun doesn't do anything to him. That kind of made it a little annoying if you couldn't get a power-up in time.
Yeah, and he was huge. He took up really all the bosses take up a really big chunk of the screen.
Yeah. I don't know if it was when you were shooting him or when you broke limbs off him or something, but he would be like, uh-oh. It kind of reminded me of Zombies Ate My Neighbors, like the giant baby, whenever he's like stomping around with like the bottle of milk. I don't know if you guys remember that.
I remember that.
Dude, I swear,
Oh
that's
my
similar.
God.
He kind of looks like a giant baby, honestly.
Yeah, I know it's weird. You like blew limbs off of him. He loses both his arms, his head, and then it's just a body. You destroy the body, then for some reason there's another head under there that's like attached to the tank.
Yeah, that was
Just
weird.
didn't make any sense. It was so weird.
Well, I like whenever you whenever you do blow his head off, there's randomly like a million heads that like scatter around the screen for a second too. Everything about this game is kind of goofy like that.
That boss gave me some like Alien Syndrome vibes.
Yeah, I could say.
Yeah, I think a lot of the bosses did, honestly.
Well, the second boss is called Scarface. It's like a giant green face, but it has like armor surrounding the head. You have to break off like each chunk of the armor around the head, and then you can damage the inside of it. And you kind of just same thing. I mean, you just like blow him apart. You like blow his eyes out, and just like these bloody eye sockets left behind. But it was a little tough with trying to get past like the armor, just the way he moved around and tried to just run into you.
Yeah, these bosses are frustrating. I had a hell of a time trying to kill these things.
Yeah, especially if the power-ups were spawning in like inconvenient spots and you couldn't get to them and you were stuck with your normal gun for a while.
Or the power-up would spawn underneath the boss and he sits on top of it.
Yeah.
I could not move him. So I'm like, all right, so I'm either just going to die or hope another one spawns like away from him.
But like, why is this guy's name Scarface, and why does he look like Shrek?
Mistranslation. Should be Shrek face.
Shrek face.
Yeah, I didn't really get the Scarface thing, but yeah, he looks like Shrek or like the Hulk or something.
Yeah, like the physics of the way he moved around was so weird because you could like shoot him.
Yeah.
It was like he was a balloon just kind of bouncing all over the place. Like you could kind of pin him in a corner and shoot him, so it kind of get him away from some of the power ups you're trying to get. But I don't know, it was just kind of hard to do and still risky with the way he's shooting stuff at you. Though at one point, I had like a lot of the armor because the armor's surrounding the entire head. I had like a lot of the armor on the one side blown away, so I kept trying to get to the right side because you always spawn on the left when you die. And it's like every time I try to get over there, he would just run into me, and I couldn't even like do anything about it. He got super annoying when he did that.
Yeah, sometimes it seemed like the boss was just like, screw it, and he just charges into you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I don't know if I mentioned that there's a special weapon that only spawns on the boss stages. It's kind of like it's not like the grenade launcher, but it kind of shoots like these balls that kind of arch over. It's weird because it doesn't shoot right in front of you. They kind of launch up, lob down, and land on them, which I don't know how strong they are because you only get them in the boss stage.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. They almost seemed like slightly homing to some degree.
Yeah, they're weird because you'd also shoot it like at the edge of the stage and it would bounce off the wall. So it's kind of a unique item. Yeah, I just love that boss, the way he looked and how as you would destroy him, like both of his eyes would blow out. Then he just has like his brain that you take chunks away of that, and then all of a sudden he turns into like a skeleton face and kind of does the same thing and shoots like these stars out of his eyes at you.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he seemed kind of boring though at the same time. Like you said,
Didn't like him.
He's just kind of like balloony, and you like bounce him into a corner, and then it's like, I don't know. His face is like he kind of just does the same thing. It's just like the effects of the attack looks different, but like it's like the same thing.
Yeah.
You just keep shooting him forever, and so eventually he blows up.
His movement kind of reminds me like an air hockey puck. Like it's kind of got those
that's
physics
what it
about
is.
it.
That's a good way to describe it.
Yeah, it's exactly how the bosses are in this game. You're pretty much playing air hockey with them.
And then the third boss is just two giant snakes that pop out of the ground, and they were kind of weird. It seemed like none of the bosses have a health bar. You just kind of know you're destroying them because pieces break off of them usually. But the two snakes, it seemed like they shared health. You could kind of just kill one and it would kill them both. But I don't know. I thought they were kind of lame compared to the other bosses.
You gotta call them by their name though. They're the Cobros.
Cobras. Did you make that up, or is that what they're actually called?
No, I saw that online somewhere. It's something Cobros. Actually, I think there's a screen near the end of the game where it says like all of their names, like Mutoid Man, like defeated or something. Then it says Scarface, something else, and it says Cobros. Yeah, it's Die Cobros.
Oh, does it say Cobras? Maybe I just didn't read it.
Yeah,
That's funny.
It could even just be like a mistranslation, but I like to just pretend it's like purposefully Cobros because that sounds way cooler.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I thought that this was like the easiest boss. They like just never did anything different. It seemed like you could just stand like at the bottom of the screen and they just never hit you. But I didn't understand like what was damaging them. They had like 50 parts to their neck, and like every part, if you would shoot it, it would light up. I don't know. It kind of felt like I needed to be shooting them in the head because the head would light up and like have like a electricity effect to it. And so I have no idea what was actually doing the damage. I just kept shooting everything until eventually they both died.
Agreed.
Yep, same here. I had no idea any strategy there. Just kind of trying to get your power-ups and keep on spamming. Because there's not really too much eventful with them. They're kind of just pretty basic boss, I thought. And after you defeat them, before you get to the final boss, it's not like a whole another set of stages, because the other ones are kind of broken up. It would kind of go into like show your points. It shows you like as a contestant in like the game show, getting all your money and stuff. But for the last section, you did like 2 more rooms. It says, I don't know if it always says the same thing, but it says either like you don't have enough keys or you almost have enough keys or something like that. And you do a room, and then it goes to the next room, and then it said you have enough keys, and then that room took like 10 minutes to even finish. Did you guys all experience that as well?
Yeah.
Sure did.
I never knew what was going on with the keys, but yeah, I know what you mean.
So did everyone get enough keys and get the bonus room?
Yeah, no, wish I didn't.
I mean, it said I had enough keys, but I didn't go to that bonus room. I don't know if I took a different door or what.
Yeah, it depends. If you go down to get to the bonus room, if you go to the right, you skip it. So maybe you just...
So I went right for the boss.
yeah, you just kept on beaming to the right.
It was a smart choice, dude. Yeah, it took
Kyle,
a bonus
you
round.
visited the Pleasure Dome?
Yep.
we love us a good pleasure dome, baby.
Yeah, it was so weird. It was like a bonus. I guess it's just a bonus stage. You go down to it. The room is just flashing. Like all these bright colors. It's like green and pink. Everything just like neon looking and flashing. And then there's like all these like hundreds of these little sprites of like girls in bikinis. And you just walk around and collect them and get points. It's so weird. But apparently this game was ported to the Super Nintendo. And I think they cut that part out of it. They didn't allow that in Nintendo.
Yeah, Nintendo, they're pretty picky with the stuff they allow in their games, especially back then.
Maybe I misunderstood. I didn't get that room with all like the girls in it. No.
What did you do?
I got just a bunch of presents like spawned, like all over the place for like 10 minutes straight.
Oh, I've had a few of those rooms.
So yeah, I've seen a couple of them, but this one in particular was the Pleasure Dome.
Oh, nope, I didn't get to make it to the Pleasure Dome.
Oh man, me and Sky missed the Pleasure Dome. We're gonna have to go take a visit later on.
I didn't go there either.
No, just me.
No, I thought
soloed the Pleasure Dome.
I was in a room that lasted like 10 minutes, but it was all enemies. And then at the end, it was just presents everywhere.
Yeah.
Brad, you're going to the Pleasure Dome without us, dude? Why didn't you invite us?
Bring you guys along.
Bro, you had 4 tickets. What'd you do with the other 3?
Well, I scalped
Went 4
them,
times.
He just threw them away. Nah, I'm not gonna invite them guys.
Well, I had a room at one point in one of the stages where apparently in the I don't know if it's the beginning of the game, at some point it says collect 10 keys. I went into one room and there was like 100 keys.
Yeah.
So immediately in that one room I had enough keys, I guess. So I don't know if it's supposed to be harder or if it's always like that. But yeah, I guess that's the goal, is get your 10 keys and go visit the Pleasure Dome.
See, so you had enough keys for all of us and you didn't even bring us along.
I gotta save them for future visits. What do you mean?
Damn, dude.
Going back after this pod.
Now I'm seeing that level you're talking about. Yeah, I definitely didn't get that.
The seizure room, all the flashing neon colors.
Yeah, crazy looking.
I got, what was the one we got? Oh, it's after you beat the final boss, I think, because all them presents spawn.
Oh, okay, yeah, you just keep on racking up points.
Yeah, that's all I got.
Well, anyways, yeah, so the final boss is the evil MC. It's the game show host that's been talking throughout the whole game, announcing stuff. He's the final boss. And he's similar to the first boss, half man, half tank, but instead of shooting lasers, he just shoots his eyeballs at you.
That's the best part.
It's kind of
Mutoid Man has eye lasers. This guy has lasers that just are eyeballs.
Yeah, when I got to him, like, he looked so similar to the first boss that I thought they were going to do a boss rush.
Yeah.
I was like, oh god, here we
For
go.
once they didn't.
Yeah, the first time I played through, I didn't realize. I thought it was the same boss at first, so I was like, oh, because it said about the keys, I thought this is what I unlocked. I thought I got like an extra boss. I was like, oh, this is lame. I was telling you guys, I was like, all right, don't even worry about the end, because I think we might get different, you know what I mean, different bosses and stuff, but that's just part of it. You just refight him. Well, it's a new boss, but it's identical to the first one, pretty much.
This dude's movements are so erratic, though, it's almost creepy.
The way he just like jolts around everywhere.
Yes, he's super twitchy. It's almost genuinely creepy with it, because the weird, creepy faces he makes while he's doing it and shooting his eyeballs at you. And dude's something.
Well, and that's the end of the game. After that, you go, like Sky said, and collect 1,000,000 points, all these different prizes, little prizes that just rack up your score, and the game ends. I don't know, anything else you guys wanted to hit besides the Pleasure Dome?
Yeah, the escape key the whole time.
Just close her out. Man, I didn't know you guys were gonna be so negative on this. I thought it was gonna be a good one.
I'm positive, dude.
Positive.
Positive.
I'll say this: I can see why people would really like this game. It's very much not made with someone like me in mind. I mean, you guys know I like my games slower paced. I like to be able to think, and this is not going to give you the chance to do that at all. It's my left
No
hand
way.
was so cramped when I was done because you had to be moving it absolutely every single second. It was a lot. And I can't imagine spending the amount of money that you would need to spend to actually beat this in an arcade. Unless you're like incredibly good at it. Like I feel like this game would take a long, long time to be able to like 1 or 2 credit it though. People are probably spending crazy money.
We get to the credit section, we'll
Big
find out
money.
just how much.
Let's find out right now.
Oh,
It's gonna be a bad one. It's gonna be a bad one.
Alrighty, I'll just start it off then with our credits. How many credits it took us each to finish this game? I played through it twice. First one was 43 credits. My second one I just finished up before the pod was 39 credits.
wow.
Wasn't too much better, but went down a bit. Sky, how about you?
I played through once and I spent 47.
Okay. Kyle, did you finish this one?
Dude.
I love how that's your first
Did it
question.
freeze?
Not how many credits, just did you even finish it?
Bro, chill, dude.
For the dude with a gaming PC above us all, I mean, his game's always crashing. I don't know what's going on.
Guys, my mom listens to this. Relax.
Hi, Lynn.
Yeah, I finished it, dude. I did one playthrough as usual. It took me 44 credits.
Nice.
Very nice. Jordan, bring it home. What do you got for us?
I don't want to bring it anywhere. I feel awful about this right now. I only played it one time because I could not bring myself to sink that much time into it again, and I didn't know what I was doing, and I spent 73 credits.
Yeah, it's a rough one. I mean, it is what it is, you know?
I was so stressed out. There were so many times where I kind of just gave up on strategy and was just like flicking all the buttons everywhere. It's like, just shoot something. Just do whatever you want. Just end this already.
If you played dual joy, I mean, you're not going to go back and play this by the sounds of it, but if you did double joystick, it'd probably be a little better.
I honestly don't think the controls were as bad as it sounds with the buttons, but who knows?
Yeah, I tried to give you an out. Whatever, that's fine. You don't have to take it.
I mean, I'm being fair about it. I mean, this is not my game in the slightest, man.
All right, let's see whose game it is. We're going to put a rating on this one. We're going to rate it out of 2,600 for the some of the prizes they come up. It's like new VCR, vacation, and stuff like that. One of the prizes was a 2,600-inch TV. So that's what we're going to rate it out of, 2,600. I'll go first. I gave it a 2162. I really like the twin stick gameplay, even though it was a little tricky playing with like modern controls because the aiming was a little weird. I did like some of the bosses, and despite the game being only 3 stages, it still felt like it drug a little bit, so that definitely pulled down the score a bit. Like that last, I feel like the game should have ended like right after the Cobras, maybe go right to the final boss after that, but those rooms in between just took freaking forever. And I like some of the animations; those are pretty cool. How we were saying about like blowing everyone apart. And it was pretty fun. It was a pretty unique kind of game to me, considering I never played an arcade game like this.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It started out like looking like a game that was for me. Like I thought I was gonna like it, but I'm gonna end up giving it a 900.
Dang, Tony Hawk over here.
I did not like it. I was not having a good time with this after like the first level.
Come on, Tony.
It's just it repeats. Like it's literally you could have just had the entire game in the same room and just get rid of the map entirely. Like that's what the game was anyway, pretty much. If you ever played the old Zelda games, like when you're in the dungeons and it's just the room with 4 doors, that's what this game takes place in. And you just move from that room to the next room that's exactly the same. But then there might be landmines and more enemies. But it never really changes. It's the same thing the entire game. And the game took like, I don't even know, at least 40 minutes, close to an hour maybe? Am I exaggerating that?
Nah, that's about right.
Yeah, it's about an hour.
That's what it felt like.
It's at least an hour. Even the YouTube videos of the people who won credit the game are like a little over an hour.
Yeah, so like it's the same. It never changes either. The gameplay never changes. And as if the game isn't hard enough, they go and put landmines all over crucial spots in the floor. So like, I don't know. I was racking up I spent close to 50 credits in this game trying to get through it, and I was not happy for like 45 of those credits. I wasn't having a good time. Like after the first 2, I'm like, okay, I'm starting to get it now. Like I thought I had a good strategy in like level 1, where I got down in the corner and I kept swiping back and forth across the wall, and I would like kind of lead the enemies. So I was like, all right, I'm doing pretty good here. I didn't die for a little bit, then as soon as their speed picks up and then you start dying, and then I realized the power-ups despawn after like 5 seconds. So like, I don't know. I did not have a good time with this game at all. I didn't like it. It felt like it just drug on way, way too long.
Well, I see your Tony Hawk, and I raise you another half a spin.
Oh, you going for that 1080?
So I'm gonna give you that 1080.
Nice.
And I pretty much have all the same bullet points as Skylar. Like, yeah, it was just like a little too long for like the fact that the gameplay never changed. It's like all the same thing just over and over again. Like, yeah, I mean, the power-ups, just, they come and go too fast. The bosses all were kind of, like, they kind of looked okay, but, like, fighting them didn't feel cool. Like, it didn't feel different. All the bosses, like, I feel like I was fighting the same way. Like, it was just, like, wait to get a power-up, shoot them till the power-up goes away quickly, and then, like, stand around and wait for another power-up. The bosses didn't, like, do that much. They kind of just, like, even sometimes when you were, like, sitting waiting for a power-up, depending on the phase the boss was in, he was also just sitting there doing nothing. Like, you were both waiting for a power-up so that he could die. Like, it was really weird.
You're sitting there staring at each other. He's like, what are you doing? Waiting for power-up. What are you doing?
Yeah.
I'm just waiting to sit on your power-up.
Yeah, it was kind of an awkward thing in there, fighting the bosses. And then, like, the stages with, I don't know, the 4 doors on each corner, and they're all randoms, to my knowledge. So it was like sometimes you kind of thought like you had a rhythm going, and then you'd walk past the door and it would immediately just open, and there all these things would come flying out and insta-kill you. It just felt like, all right, man, I'm done.
Yeah, just too much chaos the whole time. I feel like this game was like, I feel like it could have been so much better if it wasn't almost like a bullet hell style kind of thing and like getting swarmed with stuff.
All right, Jordan, what do you got to say about it?
Yeah, I mean, I think this game could have been pretty far up on my personal list if there were maybe 50 to 75% of the enemies in the game was maybe like 50 to 75% of the length. So pretty much just make it easier and shorter. I know that kind of sounds like just a dumb thing to say, but in reality, the length and the difficulty of this game were both just a little too much on the high end there for me. As I typically do, I'll give a few bonus points for it being unique. I mean, it's a game very different than any we've played. But yeah, dude, it's way too long. As I've said earlier, like, I get it. Just, it's the same thing over and over again. I get it. End it, please. Put me out of my misery. I don't, maybe that's maybe a little harsh, but it was just too much. It was too hectic. It was too difficult. But at the same time, like, I think there's so much potential for a really fun game here. I do think it would have been. I do think it would have been one of my favorites if it was just shorter and fewer enemies. So, I mean, fun game with some flaws. I'm just going to give it a 1,457.
Alrighty. Sounds good then. We'll move into our overall ranking. This will be game number 35. Where does it rank among the other games we've played for the pod? I'm going to let you guys start because I'm obviously much higher than you, so I'm just going to ignore mine and start where you guys are. I'll work from there.
Yeah, I want to hear where the low ones are first.
You know what? It makes sense now. This is why B was the only one to go to the Pleasure Dome. He gave it a nice rating. We all trashed
so much. Oh, man.
Yeah, you guys missed out. You missed the best part. That's where half my score came from.
He's got chicks, he's got TVs, he's got cars, VCRs. We don't even use them anymore, but he's got them. Well, I'll break the silence here and I'll say, oh man.
Yeah, I want to hear where you and Kyle put it first.
I would put this game right above SD Gundam.
Oh my, what? What? 30? That's not.
Hey B, not all of us got to hang out with a bunch of babes, okay?
Dang, that's rough. That's brutal.
Maybe I'd have a better rating if I also got to hang out with 25 chicks.
Oh, it was way more
25.
than 25.
Talk about like 2,000 maybe.
I mean, they don't
or
move.
At least,
they're just solid sprites on the screen that don't move. So, I mean, still.
Bro, at least throw a brother a VCR. Come on, man. I'm struggling over here.
Yeah, at least give him the home game.
Yeah, I don't even need the tapes. Just give me the VCR. You got like 1,900.
We can talk about that later.
Yeah, I think I would put this one like maybe like 26.
Not bumping 2 crude down,
Yeah.
right under slug. You're thinking?
Yeah.
Just to humor you guys, on my notes where I had this, I was coming in here thinking we were all gonna be like, yeah, this was pretty fun. We liked it. I had it sitting at 9. So
9.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Yeah, dude, I liked this game. It was fun. Yep.
He's going for that big money.
Too
Top
zesty.
10, big money.
Bro.
That's fine. It's majority rule. I'm not gonna fight you for it. I just wanted to put it out there, put it on the air.
This is the first time I've ever disagreed with you so hard.
Dude, it's
Polarizing game we got here.
It's
Yeah.
gotta be that freaking pleasure room, dude. This doesn't make any sense. Dude.
He's not acting like himself, man.
He's
It
not
got
thinking.
to him.
It's not thinking straight, dude. What's going on?
There's money everywhere. Beast sitting in a tank and stuff.
Dude, what did those 80 babe sprites do to you in the Pleasure Dome, dude?
You guys are underestimating. I think we're talking in the thousands that are spawning here, man. There's
Yeah, it
so
was.
many.
If there was any amount like similar to the gift boxes that spawn, that's
It
crazy.
kind of is, yeah.
Beast still seeing them neon lights right now.
Still flashing.
Oh, it hypnotized him.
Let's let Kyle weigh in here. What are you thinking?
What? I'm done.
Or Jordan,
dude.
you already said
26.
Oh, Jordan, you're the one that didn't go yet.
I'm closer to Kyle's end of the spectrum here. I want this below slug. Honestly, I prefer 2 crude and biomechanical toy as well, but putting it that low kind of feels a little goofy to me. I don't know.
Well, as low as we can get it, that's what I'll take.
I know you will.
I'm gonna fight for at least above biomechanical toy. I'd put it where Kyle said, right under slug. I'd be okay with that. Under biomechanical toy, that doesn't feel right.
Yeah, I think the biomechanical toy sucked.
I thought it was
that's-
okay, but
Eh.
I mean, if you want to, I'd put it below, like in between 2 crude and bio toy.
Dang, what a day.
What a day. Psycho Santa's gonna come for you if you put this above 2 crude, man.
Kyle, you gonna fight to bump down 2 crude
Dude,
with
I'll
me, or are you
fight,
gonna
dude.
settle?
Get 2 crude down there. That game was mid too, dude.
It was.
You
This
can-
one was way more unique. That was just a basic beat 'em up.
You can put it above 2 crude. That's fine. Just
You
put
can
it
do
below
that,
slug.
Sky. I know you want it way down there, but is that acceptable under slug?
If that's where I can get it, that's where it's going.
Sky's done, dude.
I'm right now. I'm sitting in the displeasure dome.
Dang.
And you'd still put it above Gundam.
I am in a very extremely painful dome right now.
Look at it this way. You wanted that 30, it got at 26. I wanted it at 9, and it got 26. So I mean, I think you still
9.
won here.
I think we got to take Beast's temperature and put him to bed, man. He's not.
We
He's not fit to host right now.
Listen,
We'll check back next week and see how I'm feeling.
I wanted it at 26, and I got 26. So
Yeah, right where you wanted it.
Feeling pretty good.
Oh man. Yeah, whatever. Let's do that.
All right, we'll lock her in. We have Metal Slug at 25, Smash TV at 26, 2 Crude at 27.
Also, let's apologize to Scary Terry because of this. He
Yeah, I feel
probably
like gotta
really
shout out
wanted
Terry.
this. Shout out to Terry for hitting us up, but I'm so sorry that we didn't enjoy the game nearly as much as you.
Yeah, I'm so sorry they didn't enjoy it too, Terry. I get it, man.
I
This is
wanted
top
to,
10
man.
material,
I really
bro.
did.
I'll give it its props for being cool and different, but it was just a bit too much for me.
I would like to play it on the original arcade and see how it felt. This is the game he said he would like to have as an original cab. I think that'd be pretty cool to see.
Go over to Scary Terry's house and play with him, dude. You guys can go to the Pleasure Dome together.
That's right, man. Hit me up.
I think it's safe to say us 3 are definitely not invited.
Yeah. My last comment on this game is like, if it's gonna be like just over an hour long, like it's gotta just be a little bit more fun. Like you gotta have a little more fun in there.
Some variation.
Not enough fun.
I think it would help if you could stack ammo and like swap weapons. Like there was like one button, you can cycle through your weapons. That way you can like pile up ammo. So that way you're not always like
Yeah.
just struggling to get ammo. You like have some, if you're doing good, you can keep it rolling.
It was just missing like one idea like that would have made it so much better.
Yeah.
I think even if the power-ups lasted on the ground longer, so it didn't feel like you had to like risk your life and like die trying to get to them immediately. Like if you had a little bit more time to like maneuver around to get to a power-up, it would have been okay.
Or if they just let you explore the map freely, like kind of like a Zelda thing. Go through each room, clear it out, then I can backtrack and maybe grab a power up. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Right.
it needed just a little something.
I'm sorry, Terry.
All right, Jordan, let's move this on. Let's get some trivia rolling.
All right, we can do some trivia then. Kind of go off the rails a little bit. I'll bring us back on, boys. All right, leading the way with trivia, Sky is still up front with 63. Brad has 52. Kyle has 48. Sorry, Kyle, you can no longer catch up in one episode. It's going to take a few.
My goal was actually to be last.
You're doing a great job then, man. I'm proud
So
of
I
you.
succeeded.
All right, I'll text you the correct answers then so you can say something different. All right, question number 1. Which of the following is a prize that your contestant can win? A blender. B, a microwave. C, a toaster.
Ooh, I want to say toaster.
Okay.
I'll go with microwave.
I'm going C, toaster.
Kyle, unfortunately for you, you are correct along with Sky. It is C,
No.
toaster.
God, I'm such an idiot.
Toasty.
One step closer to ruining Kyle's goal. Question number 2. The control scheme, the double stick control scheme for this game was based off of what other arcade game designed by Smash TV designer Eugene Jarvis? A, Robotron 2084. B, Defender. C, Blaster.
Man.
I'll go with A.
Okay.
What was the second game? Defender?
Defender.
I know that game, but I don't remember if it was twin stick or not. I'm just gonna say Blaster. I'm gonna say the last one.
Okay.
I'm going defender.
All right, the correct answer is A, Robotron 2084. Plays very similar to this game. It's just it's older and looks significantly more boring. It's just like a black screen, and all the enemies are already on the screen, and you pretty much play the same way. Kind of like it's almost like the prototype for this game. It kind of looks like. Anyway, wrapping it up with question number 3. Which of the following was originally cut from the game because the design team thought that the players wouldn't get to the end of the game anyway, but then it was later added to later cabinets whenever people demanded it back? A, the MC final boss. B, the high score leaderboard. Or C, the pleasure dome.
Gotta be the pleasure dome, right? I'm going with pleasure dome.
Yeah,
Alright.
that sounds right.
I feel like it's the trick question, but we're gonna do it anyway.
Okay. Kyle?
Wait a second. Cut from the game because they didn't think they would make it to the end.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think it's the pleasure dome. What were the other two options?
The MC final boss, that's A, and B is the high score leaderboard.
Oh my god, it sounds dumb, but I'm going with the high score leaderboard.
All right, the correct answer is C, the pleasure dome.
That doesn't make any sense, dude. It's not at the end.
It's right before the
I mean,
final
it's
boss,
near.
though.
Yeah. The leaderboard wouldn't make sense either, though, because even if you don't win, you still get, you know what I mean, you're still on the leaderboard.
Mm.
Yeah, none of them made any sense, actually.
Yeah, apparently they made the game. They thought no one's gonna beat the game anyway. But there's a mention of the pleasure dome in the game somewhere apparently, and people saw that and they're like, well, where the hell's the pleasure dome? I want to go to the pleasure dome, and so they demanded it. And they put it back in.
I like how when they
C,
make the
pleasure
game,
dome.
they just assume nobody's gonna beat their game.
Right?
Right.
That's probably a sign that maybe your game's a little too hard.
And you know there are hardcore people out there. No matter what, there's somebody out there that's gonna one credit any game in existence.
Absolutely.
Like that guy is out there somewhere.
I was just gonna say that guy's name was probably Terry.
Terry smashed it, man. He's a master.
Write back into us and tell us if you can one credit this game. Or if not, at least give us a high score because I'm very curious
That'd
if
be
you're
nuts.
I'm curious if you're closer to their 40 something or my 73.
Even any less than like 10 credits would impress me.
I mean
Yeah,
the video
yeah,
the
I mean,
video
that's-
I'm watching, like we always watch a video as we record. The one I'm watching is a 1 credit playthrough.
I feel like that's like save state. Like
No, like it's
Kinda stuff, or-
he's up to 9 lives at this point. He has not died once.
yeah, like doesn't get hit at all. I feel like those videos
Yeah.
are like tool assisted runs.
Yeah, some of them maybe. It's spliced together, so you wouldn't know the difference anyway, so it's hard
Yeah.
to tell.
They go like frame by frame.
But anyway, let's wrap this trivia up here. Brad and Sky got 2 correct, bringing Brad to 54, Sky to 65. Kyle, still 1 step closer to your goal there, man. Only 1 correct today, 49.
Perfect.
Congratulations, boys.
Alrighty, that's it for Smash TV. Next time on Arcadiology, Brad, Scott, Kyle, and Jordan battle their way through DBZ VRVS. How many credits will it take them to complete such a task? Where will it land on their rankings? Will Kyle even finish it? Find out all that and more on the next episode of Arcadiology. You can follow us on social media at Arcadiology pretty much everywhere. We'd appreciate it if you leave us a 5-star review on whatever podcast platform you're listening on, or even just tell someone about the podcast. That's a good way to spread the word, get us some more listeners. Just tell anyone, tell one of your friends, tell your grandpa, he'll love it. You know, he knows about the Pac-Mans and the Donkey Kongs.
Grandpa
just
would
tell your grandpa
love
to
this.
check it out.
He would love the Pleasure Dome, dude.
Check this shit out, Grandpa. This is awesome.
Say it that way too.
Oh yeah, Arcadiology's fire.
That's right, man. Maybe he's trying to take a nap, pop that hearing aid out, throw an earbud in there, and press play, man. He's gonna love it.
Oh man.
That's gonna be our new motto, your grandpa's favorite podcast. So.
Dude, that shit slaps.
I'm gonna start opening the show that way, man. Don't tempt me.
Oh my god.
That's right. Alrighty, boys. Well, that's pretty much it. Leave us a review, tell Grandpa, and we'll catch you next time. Let's get out of here, boys.
Oh, I'm out. Later, dudes.
Yo, toss me a toaster.
Bingo!
Well, then the third boss. Okay, come.
Oh, you can move on, dude. It's just gonna be a dumb statement. Honestly, I thought about it, and I'm like, it's not even worth it, dude. I feel sick.
He just calls out his own statement.
Forget about it, dude.
Just keep it moving. All right.
I'm over it.
Wow.